Okay, we are going to go live here. It's preparing. Okay, it looks like we are just about ready to go. Yes, I think we are. Very awesome, very awesome. I am very excited to be here today. So let me go back here and let's get started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's Wonder Series Wednesday. Every week we come here, I'm here to talk about things that you've been wondering about, whether it has to do with health, wellness, personal development, or bringing a little bit of fun back into life. We're here to answer the questions that maybe you just have been afraid to ask. Maybe you've been too embarrassed to ask, or maybe it's just plain time to ask. So I'm really excited. I am here today with Dr. Letitia Callies. She is otherwise known as Dr. Joy, and she helps overwhelmed people live with purpose and intention by optimizing productivity, resilience, and overall wellness. Joy is the foundation of her work, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, the foundation of our work here at Living Healthy List is to help you find joy in your life, whether it's health, wellness, personal development, and fun. Dr. Joy, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Denise. I am very excited to be here today.
So today, this month in April, we're talking about stress, but not like just stress. We're talking about getting rid of stress, like stress away, like be away with you stress. And I know that's one of the things that you and I have had conversations about in the past. So, as women, we tend to bring a lot of stress on ourselves, more than that's just outside in the world. So let's talk about a little bit about women and stress and the type of things that we kind of bring into our own lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Stress, the interesting thing about stress is that we bring it on and we have no idea we're bringing it on, right? Until we start to feel the effects of it and we're like, whoa, what happened there? What's the cause of that? And so when we think about women in general, some of the things that we deal with is juggling, right? We juggle so much. And we think multitasking, we are getting more done with our time. It is such a myth, right? We could do some myth busters there to show that really at the end of the day, when we think we're checking off like 5 things, we did the laundry while we talked to our kids and we graded homework and we did this all at the same time. At the end of the day, you're completely exhausted because your brain is trying to work in so many different areas at the same time when that's just not the way it's supposed to work, right? So if we were to focus on just one thing and get that thing done well, then we won't feel as much emotional mental exhaustion from that, right?
So really when it
We were
comes
not made that way to
to
multitask, and some things we can. So when we juggle a lot.
so basically just the juggling increases our stress level.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. I don't know if you've tried to juggle, but I am not good at it. Yeah,
I do it
right,
less.
and we put on that. Yeah, yeah, and the other thing too is a lot of comparison, right? We bring that on ourselves, and when we are comparing ourselves to other women or other people in our circle, we tend to bring a lot of stress on ourselves. Like we have to live up to a certain standard. We have to have this certain title. We have to accomplish certain things in order to be accepted or needed, right? And so that is another pressure that we tend to bring on ourselves. And a lot of times it's unnecessary. And it can be healthy when it's enough to push you and propel you in a positive way to get something done, right? But when it starts to add that pressure where you're staying up at night, worrying why you're not like the next person or what am I doing wrong? Yeah, that does tend to carry a lot of weight, a lot of mental stress, and can
Mhm.
also lead to, anxiety and depression, spiral down into that area, which that's what we're going to hopefully try to avoid today in our discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah, I when you said that, I was like that keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Um, and I think as you get older too, either you get better at not really caring about what the Joneses are doing, or sometimes it goes to the little bit of the other way where you're always kind of in that comparison mode. So let's talk about that a little bit more. How do we stop doing that? Like, how do we step back and pay attention to what we've got going on instead of really paying attention to what other people have going on?
Right. And it is very difficult. I will say up front, it is really, really a hard thing to do. But I had to learn the hard way as well when I was in, working with NBA players and had this really, really great job. And then I pulled myself back and decided I wanted to stay home with my kids. And I wanted to be there with in those, younger years. I
Mm.
had to go through that comparison. I had to go through that phase where I was like, I'm not sure I'm cut out for this. I'm not sure this is the life I was supposed to be living. And I went through a period of time where I had to pull myself out and say,
Mm.
wait a minute. If I can't live and enjoy this life that I'm in, then I am always going to be unhappy. I'm always going to be stripped of joy. I'm
Mm.
always going to be I'm never going to find satisfaction, right? So when we talk about pulling ourselves back, it's truly embracing the gifts that we have, using them to the best of our ability,
Mhm.
and then not worrying about what's going on around us. And that's where truth comes in, right? The truth, like the
Sure.
way I am right now, I sure couldn't be the dancer I was, 20 years ago. And I have to, right? But it's true.
Mhm.
And I have to accept that. So that's the next step. It's like recognizing the truth, understanding who you are, and then accepting that.
Mhm.
Accepting that,
I think you
right?
make a good point. Accepting who you are today
Yes,
as opposed to who you were 20 years ago, or even
exactly.
who you want to be down the road, because that you can't do anything about that yet. Like, that's not
Right.
something you can worry about. You can only live today.
Exactly. And that's what I will tell my clients all the time. Don't compare yourself to this person. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday.
Mhm.
Because then you're going to see the progress in your work. You're going to see who you were, who you used to be, and who you are now. And there are
Mhm.
so many beautiful things in who you are today if you're willing to embrace it and accept that. And then knowing where you are and where you want to be and taking baby steps to get there. Not overnight, right? And that's what we want, right? In this
Right.
fast-paced world.
We
Now,
want
now,
it.
now,
Yep.
got to be
Right now.
happening right now. And
Yep.
it really doesn't. It really
Right.
doesn't, right? Those who've had kids, 9 months to put the weight on, right? But we forget when baby's born, it's gotta all be gone now. And it's like, no, it took 9 months to put that
Mhm.
on. Give yourself a little grace. You
That's a
get
very good point. I think, because I know when I've worked with people, my clients, and it's always the first thing that people come to a health coach about is about weight loss, but it's
Mhm.
usually so much more. And I have to remind them the same thing. It took them X amount of years to get to where they are. And so they need to, be great, give themselves the grace to say, okay, this is going to take a little bit of time. I have the time. And then to get that around your mind.
Right. And I think you get better results that way too, because then it
Mhm.
becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a mental shift,
Yeah.
right? You're shifting your perspective. So it's not a temporary fix.
Mhm.
These are lifestyle changes mentally, emotionally that you're incorporating into your everyday life so that when you do face those obstacles, you've got tools in your bag to conquer them. And
Mhm.
that's the key is not to just shift it to get you to that next point, but to make it a part of your life, right?
Mhm.
Perspective is huge. And that
Absolutely.
that that makes a huge difference on how we respond and how we see ourselves.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I think, as women, we do struggle on a daily basis with that comparison.
Mhm.
Even when you get to that point where you're on a good path, you're on a healthy path, to stay away from that comparison, because we know that brings us stress. There's always something um, that triggers you.
Mhm.
I mean, I know there's a person
Absolutely.
online who I don't follow, but every now and then she'll pop into my feed, and she's somebody who triggers me. And it's frustrating because I think, I should be just like her. I should be, as successful as her. I should have all the things that she does,
Yeah.
except I'm not her and she's not me.
Yeah.
And that's when, when that stressed, I get stressed out when I see her, which is why I don't follow her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am right there with you because that happens to me a lot. And the truth of the matter is we can't avoid that. We can't avoid, for example, raising difficult teens, or we sometimes have to live in spaces where there are people that are pushing our buttons on
Hmm.
a daily basis. Okay. And so here's where, to address your question is to say, we want to relearn some different behaviors on how we respond to those things. So it's a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy. So if we know this is identify stressor and then changing your response to it. So if you know when she pops up in your feed, she is going to make your blood boil. You're going to feel those ants tingling on your shoulder. Your heart's going to
Hmm.
start beating, and you're like, why? Why are you showing up on my feed on this day when I really don't need to be hearing that? No, and you're like, really, the timing of it is just so wrong, right? But
Absolutely. Yeah.
right,
Like there's a little bit of divine intervention, like that's trying to like give you a kick in the pants or something. I don't know.
right. So the key there is to take those stressors, recognize them that they stress you out, and relearn those behaviors. So when you see that popping up in your feed, you come back to that truth and acceptance. You come back to saying, no, she's not me.
Mm-hmm.
No, she is not anything like me or anything like what I'm going through in my life or my
Hmm.
career goals.
Right.
And I accept where I am. I am moving forward. I am successful. So you start to replace that with truth. Because truly, like we can go on Facebook, we can go on Instagram and get completely depressed. I'm sorry,
Yep.
you can,
Hmm.
because a lot of times it's highlights of the good things that are going on in people's lives or the
Yeah.
success stories. And sometimes when you break those down, or if you really were to get to know the insides of some of those people,
Hmm.
there's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of things that are going on in that circle. So we have to say we can't take things for face value as well.
Hmm.
There's a lot going on there. So when it seems like it's a lot to think about, really just focusing on truth and acceptance and finding a different way
Hmm.
to deal with that stressor, especially if you know it's there.
Yeah, I really love that. It really makes it so much more simple than we think. We think stress, we have to do all these things to like get rid of our stress. We need to, meditate for an hour and a half, or we need to go on a retreat, or we know we need to go on a vacation. Okay, all of those sound really good, by the way. Um,
Yeah, I know.
but
I
like,
was like, keep going.
yeah,
I'm
like
going to my happy place.
seriously, happy place. Let's go back to Hawaii. Let's go back to our happy place. But I think we really do think that we take time out of our lives, like big pockets of time, to reduce our stress, and whether it's getting on vacation or a weekend away, where realistic, what you're telling us is it's something that we should be doing whenever we are noticing that stress. So on a daily basis, some
Exactly.
days on an hourly
Yeah.
basis.
Some days on per second basis. Okay, we'll just say that. We'll just be real with that.
And I think looking at the truth and acceptance, that really brings the problem into perspective. And it kind of takes like the pressure off of the stress.
Mhm.
And-
Absolutely.
mhm. So
Yeah.
what are some ways that we can make sure that we are falling into a more positive pattern when it comes to our stress and looking at truth and acceptance? Give us a little bit more information. Like what would be some steps?
So one step, and I came across this a few months ago. You hear a lot of FOMO, right? The fear of missing out.
Hmm.
And so I stumbled across JOMO, which is the joy of missing out, and I think it really fits nicely with what I do. It's not having fear of, oh, I'm missing out on this, and I need to say yes to this because if I don't, then it's
Hmm.
having joy saying no. It's joy of saying, I'm okay with missing out. That's
Nice.
okay with me. And I think that's where truth and acceptance comes in too, because we feel like in order to be accepted, in order to be the super cape mom or entrepreneur or whatever the success looks like in each of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
is to step back and say, I'm going to experience joy today because I am going to say no to going through my Facebook feed. And sometimes that's what it has to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or saying no to whatever it is that you know is triggering your, a stressful response.
Mm-hmm.
So choosing joy in that, the joy of missing out, I love that,
I
because
love that.
yeah, and really saying, I don't know. The more you tell yourself that, and I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be an overnight fix. It's not going to be something like, oh, I watched this video and I did it one day and I really didn't feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's making it a lifestyle choice, making it okay to say, I'm going to choose joy in missing out on this. I'm okay with that. This is where I'm at, and this is the way I accept myself. It really helps to improve your self-worth. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really getting down to the root of it, right? It's really accepting
Absolutely.
and being confident in who we are and loving what we're doing and how we're doing it. If you're
Mm-hmm.
washing dishes, cleaning veggies, right? Because I know you do. And loving
All the
that,
time.
right? Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we go through those motions and we're like, we're wasting our time. You know what? I could be doing this and I could be doing that. Again, going back to the truth. You could be.
Mm-hmm.
You could be.
You could be,
But
but.
this is where you need to be. Yes. You need exactly. And the but takes you to the truth.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So and I'm just thinking, what am I doing when I'm cutting vegetables? Hopefully I'm actually paying attention to cutting the vegetables, because there have been times when and my mind has wandered and I'm not paying attention and my poor little thumb suffers.
Yeah. That's the multitasking that we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning, right? It's like you think it's a no-brainer thing, but when we shift our mind to it, and it could just be we got lost in a thought, or we're reliving a conversation and we're like trying to work ourselves through it. And that is adding stress too, where our vegetables are gonna be like, oh, look at the dirt coming off. Oh, it's clean, it's beautiful.
We all have singing vegetables in our house, guys.
Yeah, so that is one way that we can work on improving our self-worth, being okay, the joy of missing out. That's one really simple way. Simple, but something that you really do need to work on to apply daily.
Yeah, one of those simple but
Another
not necessarily
thing,
easy things.
yeah, exactly. Anytime you're dealing with your mentally emotional health, it's not an overnight thing,
Mm-hmm.
because you're really trying to reframe, rework, and those kind of habits take time. So I will say, don't give up. Just keep working at it. Keep working on being more positive, joy of missing out. And you're going to
Mm-hmm.
see one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh my word, I don't have that kink in my neck that I usually wake up with every morning. Because we don't realize the stress is hitting us all day. And then we sleep and
Mm-hmm.
we wake up and you're like, I don't know, I
Just,
slept 10 hours.
mm-hmm.
Not sure what's going on here. It's
Yeah,
all day sitting like
this more
this.
stress. Mm-hmm.
Right, we tend to carry it all right in
Mm-hmm.
our neck and shoulders, and then in our gut, like our stomach just is
Mm-hmm.
twisting, right? So that kind of goes to the next thing that I would recommend, and that is breathing. Breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I know that I saw a post on Living Healthy List about this too. It's breathing, because I know when I get stressed, I tend to hold my breath. And it could be something
Mm-hmm.
as simple as washing dishes, but my mind is somewhere else. So I'm like,
Right.
and
And
I'm
all of us, you're right. All of a sudden you're doing it and you're almost frantic.
yes,
Yep.
right, exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I find myself like, okay, get yourself together.
Yeah.
You need to take a deep breath. And I love to take the essential oils with this, because it again brings it to the next level. You have the deep breathing, which is oxygenating your body, and it's providing circulation, especially in the areas where we're experiencing that tension.
Mm-hmm.
So we're breathing in and breathing out. This is evidence-based, a proof that this does help our bodies
Yes.
to help uh, shut down that cortisol release that happens when we're stressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then bringing the essential oils brings it to another level.
Right.
You're getting some really happy things going on in the brain with the limbic system, the chemical constituents, they're really working to support the brain.
Mm-hmm.
If, again, you want to bring it to another level, I love to use prayer, scriptures, and things like that to help, because that has been proven to show
Mm-hmm.
benefits like meditation. And we know that helps to lower anxiety, lower depression, and
Mhm.
things that can cause later on medical symptoms, right? That we end up
Absolutely.
going to the
Mhm.
doctor for, right? And I will be
Mhm.
the first to say that stomach of mine, I know when it's not happy that I need to recheck the stress in my life, because that is one of the first triggers that I find is my stomach will twist.
Mhm.
So that is one way. That's a couple ways. And then the third is something that I think you'll appreciate because I thought about you. Eat real food.
Mhm. Yes, I love it.
And we,
My
right,
message, and it's
right,
not coming from me.
exactly, exactly. Because we don't realize that when we are stressed, when we're comparing, when we're juggling, we're raising kids, we're running a job, we're deciding whether we want to go back to school or not. We've got all these things going in our mind. Our first response may be, I want chocolate, I want a bag of chips. So we're not looking at healthy choices. We're
Mhm.
looking at sort of comfort foods.
Right.
And these foods we know aren't going to really help our situation,
Mm-mm.
especially in the long run. We may get this temporary sort of fix where our brain's thinking, yeah, happy
Mhm.
for a second. And a
Yep.
lot of times that spirals into guilt, right? So we
Mhm.
eat the chocolate, then we feel guilty that we ate the chocolate. So we might as well eat more. And,
More.
then we kind of go in that direction.
Mhm. Yeah, that
So
downward spiral.
that downward spiral. So it's
Mhm.
not only eating real food, but also setting yourself up for those stressful times. When you open your cabinet, if you're going to have chocolate, have dark chocolate.
Mhm.
If you're craving salty and crunchy, I have pistachios that I think that tricks my brain into thinking I'm having a bag of chips,
Yep.
right? So I look for alternatives because I know I would be lying to myself if I don't stress. But if I know that when I get stressed, I have myself set up for success
Mhm.
stress, then I can be better at combating it, right?
Absolutely. So it's
And
having a plan.
exactly, having a plan, because we know stress is inevitable. We know it's going to happen, but
Right.
how we approach it, how we prepare for it. And I
Mhm.
understand there's things that happen in life that we just can't be prepared for. But I'll tell you what, in my years of since I started studying stress, because of stress, the effects of stress in my own life, in my own health, I started to be proactive.
Mhm.
So when my daughter ended up in the emergency room, I was able to handle that so much better. I didn't expect it. I couldn't prepare myself for that. She's like lying in my, I'm like, okay, are you alive? Are you not?
Oh gosh.
I was able to handle it in
Mhm.
a better frame of mind, right? Right. And then it's like, so people will say, how in the world do you do it? It's
Mhm.
not this magical thing that I kind of pulled out of my pocket. It was being prepared
Mhm.
every day for something that I may not know could ever happen. And
Mhm.
these little things that we're doing, deep breathing, the joy of missing out, eating real food,
Mhm.
exercise, that's the last one. I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yep.
these are just simple things that we can put in our toolbox. And
Mhm.
you may be watching this and saying, I know all this, but you may know it, but you need to do it.
Do it. Mhm.
There's so much information out there that we know and we're like, oh, that would be really good. Oh, I
Mhm.
should start that way. No, start.
Yes, just start. Start
It's
today.
exactly.
Mhm.
It's starting now, starting today, and being prepared. What we can, we don't know what's out there. We don't know what,
Right.
what can happen in life.
That's
Yep.
so true. So true. You mentioned essential oils a few minutes ago, and I know that you are a certified aromatherapist.
Yes.
Is that the correct title?
Certified clinical aromatherapist. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
give us a couple of ideas. Um, what would be for stress and for the situations, specifically, and we're specifically talking to women and a
Mhm.
few smart men too, guys. But what are some of the essential oils that we should have at our fingertips? And I know you and I have talked about this before, but I think it's really important for people to hear it time and again,
Yeah.
because it's one thing knowing it, like you said, but unless the essential oil is next to you, okay, if I was in my office, it would be sitting at my desk. Um, because I know for me, peppermint is a big one because I get headaches. So, and that can be stress related. So aside
Absolutely.
from peppermint, because I just told everyone to take peppermint if you have headaches or you have that handy.
Absolutely. So there are so to keep it really simple, one of the oils, and I have it right here, is orange. You may think, orange, really? That would be one of the essential oils that are essential, right? Yes. Okay. So the reason why orange is, especially if you're new to essential oils, this is a familiar scent. It's a familiar
Mhm.
aroma. And so it's a great place to start. And what I love about orange is it not only has uplifting benefits, but also calming. So how can you have calming and uplifting at the same
Mm.
time? So the citrus scent is uplifting. It doesn't mean it's going to keep you awake, but it helps elevate your mood,
Mhm.
at the same time helping to calm you. So this is a popular oil that if you do research, you'll find that they use it pre-post-op. It's a great one to use, that dentists use it before they're doing dental work. It just helps to calm. Nobody falls asleep, but it helps to be like, okay,
Especially at the dentist.
right, right, okay. So, a simple way to use it is just to drop it in the palm of your hand. And when
Mhm.
we were talking about deep breathing and rubbing your palm together, cupping over your nose and mouth. Oh, sorry.
I'm pretending. Breathe.
Ooh, amazing. And so it really just feels like I just rubbed an orange in the palm of my hand. And
Mm.
it's getting those natural oils that are on the outside of the orange that when we go to the store, we're smelling if an orange is
Mhm.
fresh. That's what we're capturing at a uh,
Mhm.
very concentrated. So that's it. You deep breathe and whoa, that was amazing. So that is one that I absolutely love. So if you're like, I'm not sure that, that would be one that I would start with. That's a beautiful one. Another one is frankincense.
Mhm.
Frankincense has been shown to help decrease anxious running thoughts. And it helps to keep you grounded. So you'll find that if you were to research frankincense as well, that a lot of people love to use it during prayer and meditation. And the reason why is it because it really does ground you. It helps you to just, all right. And
I
when
gotta go
I
get my
find
bottle of
that,
frankincense and put that next to my
yeah,
desk.
yeah, exactly right. And it's a great one to use in your night routine because it's so great for the skin. So if you're looking for a way to de-stress at night, you can take that frankincense, add it to your night cream, and so you're getting
Mm.
aromatherapy and a beauty regimen at the same time. So frankincense is another really good one that I use, and I love to have my clients love to combine orange and frankincense together. So
Oh, I bet that
that's
would
an
be a really
example
nice scent. And of course, I have both at home. I honestly have never thought to use them together.
that so powerful. I can't tell you, it's been so good for so many of my clients, these two together. So if you love frankincense and you want a little change, you can combine these together. And that's just a simple way that you can blend your essential oils. And a very popular one, of course, is lavender. Everybody knows about lavender. The scientific research on lavender, how it has a relaxation effect on the body, has a relaxation effect on the central nervous system, just helping to calm the body. It can
Mhm.
also help with sleep.
Yep.
So if you're struggling with those thoughts,
Mhm.
and you're struggling with, okay, I'm trying to do this joy of missing out thing, but it's really running in my mind at night and I can't stop it, right? So that would be one that I would recommend using to help calm the body, help you to sleep. And that one is another good one combining with orange. So this is another good combination together. And last but not least, since you already mentioned peppermint, stress away, since that's what we're
Ooh,
talking about.
yeah.
Stress away. And this is, some people will use this just like they would say, can I tap into an IV and get this?
Can I bathe in it?
Can I bathe in it? Can I just soak in it? And this, I love it because you can smell it, the aromas. It's got a little bit of lime, it's got some vanilla, lavender, copaiba. So these oils blended together
Mhm.
synergistically to help release stress in the body, that nervous rigidity that we can tend to have.
Mhm.
And so this is a great one that washing dishes and your mind's running, okay, I'm going to take the stress away, and you can take it in your hands and also massage it into your neck and shoulders. So this is a really great blend to help ah, have a little stress release, great in bath salts. So if you do find yourself having a time and a moment, like Denise said, taking a vacation, even if it's not outside the home, but a vacation in your home, right?
Mhm.
A little staycation, I call them joycations. Then you
Joycations.
can have a little stress away bath. So yeah.
These are amazing amazing tips for us to get rid of our daily stress. And there's simple things that we can all do at home. So Letitia, I appreciate this so much. I know that there is something that you had been working on for a while and just came out in the last week or so. So I would love for you to tell us about your book launch.
Thank you. So I released a book. It's called The Seven P's Breaking Through to Unshakable Joy. That's my mission, is to spread joy one person at a time around the world. And so this book is a product of my own journey of simply what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
It's just how we can be more productive in our lives, being satisfied right where we are, and finding our purpose and living that out. And so
Mhm.
this is a simple read. It goes through 7 P's, which I'll give you a little teaser. Picture is in there, and you're going to have to figure out what that means. But I go through a system of 7 simple ways that you can add more joy into your life, and they build on each other. But the
Mm.
last one, and I'll give you another teaser there, is perseverance. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what we talked about today. It's not getting results overnight,
Right.
but it's persevering, it's pushing through. It's when the wall's in front of you and you're like, I can't do this anymore. You're going to have to find the window in that wall or that
Mhm.
door, and you're going to walk through it.
Yep.
And that's what it's about. It's about not giving up, it's about pushing through and really enjoying your life. And so I'm really excited to put this out there. And it's also got some space for thought, some journaling. So for me, when I think something, I want to write it down and then I forget where I put it. So it's all right in one space, that you can write, think, put your ideas down, and mark your progress, because that's
I love it.
important too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. That's an essential piece. It's one thing to write things down, but if you don't know, if you don't remember what you've done in the past, kind of like you need that progress report. That's amazing. And the book is
That
available
is what I'm
on
talking.
Amazon,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, it is on Amazon. Yep, you can get it on Prime.
Yay. We will, and we'll put the
Yes.
we'll have a link for everybody that we'll put that on. I guess the next question for you is, how can people connect with you?
Yeah, so in the chat, we'll have a connection to my website, and then you'll have access to workshops and classes that I have, as well as if you want one-on-one individual sessions and have some joy and life spoken into you, that's what I'm here for as well. So there's access to, and also my email. There's all the ways to contact me and connect with me are on my website. So I will connect that in our chat.
Perfect. Dr. Joy, thank you so much for all these amazing, simple tips that we can do at home every day to help us push that stress away, get rid of that stress in our lives. Thank you again so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Choose joy,
Always is, my
everyone.
friend. Choose joy, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to us today. I'm Denise Stegall, CEO and curator at livinghealthylist.com. And again, this is the Wonder Series. We're here every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time to answer the questions that you have been wondering about. So till next week, I'll leave you with this: healthy living, happy life. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.